We're reminding negotiators that this is a serious issue and that we have to take urgent action. The other thing that a big focus of the UKYCC is to support the IYCM and with capacity building and get people skilled up and knowledgeable so that when they can go back to their own countries, they can really take action.
And we're seeing, I think we've begun to see here, probably at Durban as well, that there is an international youth movement whose capacity has been built to quite a large extent. The youth movement in general is or is becoming a force to be reckoned with in the climate change negotiations. I mean, is that the case?
Yes, we are absolutely a force to be reckoned with. It's been fantastic this time because we've had the development of the AYCM, which is the Arab Youth Climate Movement. Again, sorry with the acronyms, of course, which has been amazing to have that engagement and in this area. It was something that we were a little bit nervous about ahead of the COP, and it's been a fantastic opportunity, in fact, to really grow there. And yes, indeed, the IYCM is a force to be reckoned with. And they're fantastic at reminding negotiators about the human face of climate change and really the fact that it is going to affect us. And the other fantastic thing is they really have so much knowledge on policy. You know, we really engage on policy. We're not just some youth voice that makes a noise and reminds people. We also have credibility in our knowledge as well as our position and unique opportunity to be there and be credible as young people.
I mean, is that sinking in among the generally middle-aged to elderly negotiators? I mean, do you find that you're patronised to some degree, or are they beginning to listen, see that you know what you're talking about?
I think it's a delicate balance. It really depends. Sometimes they really want to speak to us because we're youth and it's seen as, oh, look, you know, this is fantastic, we're doing this fantastic thing, we're engaging with youth, and it becomes a bit tokenistic. However, you tend to get, you know, a couple of minutes into the conversation and they suddenly go, oh, wow, they actually know what they're talking about. And sometimes we know even more than they do because it might be our specific area and we may have more knowledge. So yes, I can see the patronising element, but I think as soon as there's the means for engagement, then that disappears because often we can be quite intimidating.
And each member of your delegation has come with a specific task here in Doha. What is your task and how's it been going so far?
Yes, we all have specific tasks. So mine is to support the International Youth Climate Movement with capacity building, and I was coordinating the Conference of Youth, which is a big capacity building summit ahead of the COP, which went very well, very pleased to say. And then the other thing that I've been doing is sort of on that vein, developed from that, my specific negotiating track is Article 6, which is on education and climate change. And I can tell you a little bit how it's been going.
Please do.
So today, actually, we've finally come through with the Doha Work Programme with some immense effort from parties, particularly led by the Dominican Republic, but also some fantastic input from the EU negotiators and also Japan. These are the three that I'd mention the most, not to mention the Secretariat, who've been wonderful. And we struggled at first. It was a little difficult to get engagement with them. But as soon as we managed to get in there, they really started to engage with us. And I was really pleased to say that we put in some particular points within the policy which I really think holds it to account, and that was something we were worried about. Yes, it reflected the themes and the ideals that we wanted it to because it's been lobbied by YOUNGO is the youth constituency at the UN over the number of years, but I think what we really brought to it was a reminder that we needed to be accountable. This is an 8-year-long work programme. The amount of children who are born in that time is verging on 2 billion, and we have to make this worthwhile, and they really just start to listen to us when we push them. So,
right, so it's a great success here in the negotiating hall. How will that translate to work on the ground?
Work on the ground, that's another issue. What we've been thinking about this week is what we're going to do in the following week. So as a team, the working group on Article 6, we've been thinking, how can we rally the IYCM all across the world, all at home in their own nations, to hold their governments to account around this policy? So this is something we're thinking about doing. Are we going to do an action? Are we going to engage with people and ensure that they're talking to their negotiators? So we had a meeting with the UK, for example, and we raised it. We said, why is there no focal point for Article 6 in the UK? And they said, oh, well, it's difficult because they don't really fit into a ministry. And it's like, well, it has to fit somewhere and it has to happen. And so it's not just the youth here at the UN that can make a difference with UN policy. We can make a difference on the other side when we're at home to make sure that it's held to account.